Welcome to DataViz Daily. I'm Kevin McGinley, and we're continuing to kind of explore some new features in Oracle Data Visualization Desktop 12.2.2. The last 2 days we've walked through the new Parallel Coordinates and Sankey visualizations. So just to kind of recap what we showed there, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one Parallel Coordinates. So we showed this Parallel Coordinates visualization, kind of drawing lines between speakers and keywords that they said. We also showed that if we switch this visualization to a Sankey, we could actually get a slightly different perspective here in terms of who sort of speaks which words the most and which words are spoken by which or how many speakers the most based on the size of the bars. So these are both visualizations that are all about sort of connecting dots between things that happened. In this case, attributes, the speaker, and the sort of words that they spoke. What's sort of a common thread within the new visualizations of 12.2.2 is they all have that sort of similar theme, with the exception of timeline. They all have this sort of ability to sort of relate things to each other and what things are related to what other things. So to that extent, we're going to look at the new chord diagram in 12.2.2, and this is yet another way to sort of visualize the same capability, because what we're looking at here is a circular version of what we just saw from the Sankey perspective. So we now see around the outside both the speaker and the text. So in the same circle we can see the sort of speakers going around one side and the text going around the other side. So speakers going around sort of the left-hand side of the circle, words going around the right-hand side of the circle, and the same style sort of lines being drawn between them. We also get sort of, instead of a bar height, we get a slice, if you will, indicating which words or which speakers kind of have the most relationships to each other. So you can definitely see some of the same things if I switch back here to the Sankey. Very similar in nature in terms of, maybe slightly different stylistically. The lines here are, sort of filled in lines with no borders, etc. If we switch to the chord diagram, we get more of a, sort of outlined bar and, a little bit more curvy as it sort of wraps around the circle. You can see a good instance of that here with Cain and how it wraps around to ISIL, him being the only person who mentioned that word or that version of ISIS. What I'm also highlighting here is a nice ability within the chord diagram to really emphasize any one given attribute's connection to everything else. So I clicked on Tim Cain there and saw all of his connections. Here I'm clicking on the word taxes and seeing where all of those connections are. There's some nice shading going on there. Whereas if I come back to the Sankey diagram, I do get a similar notion, and notice it keeps the shading that I had from the previous one. It's maybe a little bit distorted. The lines are sort of crossing each other a little bit. One of the things that it doesn't do is sort of elevate all those lines to the top of the top layer of the canvas, if you will. But this is a really stark contrast between parallel coordinates, which, while this does do some highlighting, it's not quite as obvious what that highlighting is. So in this instance, taxes is still highlighted, and you can kind of see that. But if I highlight something like Keanu, who doesn't have as many word counts relative to everything else, you can see that highlighting is barely evident here in parallel coordinates. Whereas if I switch to Sankey, it's definitely more obvious here. Maybe not quite as obvious, though, as if I switch to the chord diagram, which you see there. So this is one of the advantages of the chord diagram over the other two sort of relationship models, is that it really emphasizes those relationships. You can see them, more apparently. So that's the new chord diagram visualization in Oracle DV 12.2.2. We'll take a look at some more new capabilities in the next episode. Thanks for watching.